This is Ken Long speaking to you on a slightly delayed tape recording from Portland Union Station. Today, the WGAN Special Events Department will bring you a little bit of history in the making, or perhaps it's history in the passing, because it'll be our pleasure on this broadcast to bring you a little bit of a historic trip made by locomotive 470 of the Maine Central Railroad, and it brings about actually the passing of an era. This is the last time that a steam locomotive will run on the Maine Central Railroad. And it's almost unbelievable, the number of people who are out very early this morning with their cameras and people who are just down to take a look at locomotive 470, all tricked up and looking like $4 million. We have two gentlemen with us right at the moment. We'll, in the course of our broadcast, talk to a number of people who are going to make this very historic trip. It's our pleasure right now to talk to Mr. Harold J. Foster, who is the passenger traffic manager. And Mr. Foster, this is quite a day.
It's a wonderful day.
And I know that you're the gentleman who is Maine Central out of the last run of locomotive 470.
A large number of people. Our president, Mr. E. Spencer Miller, set this train up in order that the individuals might have an opportunity to ride the last steam passenger train on the Maine Central Railroad and also take pictures.
Do you have any idea how many people will make the trip today?
At this time, between 800 and 900 people.
That's a lot of people.
Sure is.
And you've made some special arrangements for these many people who are locomotive fans and steam engine fans in the form of a special ticket, I believe.
That is correct. We have a souvenir ticket. An individual may purchase this ticket for $3, including the tax, and it will be punched by the conductor, and it is large enough so that the passenger, after he retains things, may frame it if he so wishes.
And I believe that you've had requests from all over the country, practically, from people who are anxious to make this trip. As a matter of fact, I believe right at the moment we're waiting for a train to come in from New York with a carload of people who are going to make the last run on the Maine Central Railroad.
That is right, and unfortunately, we probably have to take a 15-minute delay leaving Portland.
Well, I think most of the folks are planning to spend the whole day, and I don't believe that'll be any inconvenience at all.
The day will be all too short for some of these enthusiasts.
Well, Mr. Foster, it's a pleasure to have talked to you, sir, and I'm going to swing over now and talk to the gentleman who I believe has probably come the greatest distance to make this trip.
That's right.
Thank you, sir. And the gentleman is Mr. Carl Hendricks, who has come all the way from Los Angeles, California, to make the last trip on locomotive 470 on the Maine Central Railroad. Mr. Hendricks, it's a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, sir.
And you must have quite a story. I noticed that you have your camera all set, ready to take some pictures. What would prompt a man to come all the way across the country to take a ride on the last steam engine of the Maine Central Railroad?
Well, there's two reasons. The Maine Central, I could see the state of Maine again, and also have the honor of riding on the last train.
I should gather that you are a locomotive fan from way back.
Yes, sir. I used to be a locomotive fireman in Boston, Maine.
On the Boston to Maine Railroad.
Right.
So this really is a little bit like coming home to you.
I lived here a year and fired out of here a year.
Tell me, how does a fella get to be such a locomotive fan? Is it like stamp collecting or any other hobby, I suppose?
Well, I guess it's just born in and got from the cradle to the grave.
Well, I guess it must be. When did you arrive?
Last evening.
Last evening. And how did you come on from Los Angeles?
I came by air to New York, grounded there 5 hours. I hope I'm not grounded here this morning 5 hours.
I don't think you will. I have every confidence that locomotive 470 of the Maine Central Railroad will definitely make the trip today. And this certainly, did you come on all by yourself?
Oh, yes.
And when do you plan to go back? As soon as the run is over?
As soon as the run is over, I'll go to Washington and visit my sisters and brother and go back to L.A.
Well, you're having quite a vacation.
Yes.
And I should imagine as an old locomotive fireman, you would like nothing better than to ride in the cab of number 470.
I just can ride the plush.
Did you, by any chance, at the time that you were working, ever have anything to do with locomotive 470?
No. No, I was strictly a Boston, Maine man.
I see. Well, certainly it's a pleasure to have talked to you, Mr. Hendricks. I hope that the day clears. I have good hopes for it. I wouldn't be surprised this fog might burn off, be a beautiful day, and that you have a wonderful last ride on the Maine Central Railroad.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for talking to us. And on our tape-recorded broadcast of this memorable occasion, we have now moved our location to the cab of locomotive 470. It'll be our pleasure to talk to the gentlemen who are going to take Locomotive 470 on her last run. And right at the moment, in front of our microphone, we have Fireman P.H. Moores of South Portland, who will be the fireman engineer on this particular run. And Mr. Moores, I imagine this is quite an honor for you to take Locomotive 470 on her last trip.
It is.
Is this a familiar engine to you?
Oh, yes. I fired this engine years ago when we used to help with have to fire by hand.
And that's a nice hot blaze you've got going in there now. It takes the chill right out of the morning air, doesn't it?
But that's nothing what it will be when we get started.
Tell me from a railroader's standpoint, and a fellow like yourself, how long have you been in railroading, Mr. Moore?
Ever since 1917.
Since 1917. And of course, we all have to bow down to progress, and the diesels are a step forward, but I imagine that if you were to have your choice, you'd probably prefer perhaps to go on a steam engine until you give up railroading.
I hardly can say that. I think I'll go along with the times and progress.
I can understand that, and yet there must be a certain amount of romance to a steam engine that perhaps is not prevalent in a diesel engine.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
And I believe, of course, a lot of us kid about the sound of the diesel. Fellas are trying to work on a duplication so that the diesel engine will have a whistle that will sound somewhat like a steam engine.
I believe that's right.
Say, would it be possible by any chance to get a blast on that whistle?
Why, I believe so.
As time goes on, we'd certainly like to pick that up and get that familiar sound of a steam engine as she blasts out through the night or through the day, as the case here is.
Last time. We'll speak to the travel engineer. I think he'll do that.
Fine. We'd certainly be delighted to have it. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, Mr. Moores. And you say you've been railroading since 1917. All in all, that's what, something like how many years?
36, 7 years.
And how, incidentally, did you and Mr. Toll happen to be selected to make this run?
Well, I couldn't say. They called me up in the office and asked me if I'd fire the job.
And you said you would?
I said I would.
Well, thank you very much, sir. It's nice to talk to you. And I believe we're going to get a blast on that whistle now.
He says it's okay, that we'll give you a blast.
Fine. Can we have it now? By any chance? Go ahead.
Do you want to get off the engine to get it better, or would you get it here, Bill?
No, I think we can pick it up all right here, sir. And certainly here it is, that familiar blast of a steam engine whistle. Wonderful, wonderful sound. And now, if you're listening, you can undoubtedly hear a roar in the background, and that is the sound of the stoker as it fires steam and coal into the boiler of Locomotive 470. A sound that, too, is passing into history and will never be heard again on the Maine Central Railroad. And now, it's our pleasure to talk to Mr. T.R. King, who is the road foreman of engines of Portland. He is the gentleman also going in the cab of this engine as Locomotive 470 makes her last run. Well, Mr. King, it's a pleasure to talk to you, sir. And just what does a road foreman do? What kind of a job is that? How much does it encompass?
He instructs the engine men on the operation of the locomotive, the new men, and also with the firemen, breaking the firemen in, qualifying them on diesels, and on the steam power it used to be. Now it's all diesel, see? And he has charge of all the roadmen in the engine service is under his jurisdiction, see? And when he's on the job, why, he is the boss of the job, they say.
I see. Well, I heard you talking just a moment ago with Mr. Moores, the fireman, and I believe you were mentioning something about speeds and so forth, and how the engine would approach Bangor, was it?
Yeah, well, when you get to Bangor, we're going to stop at the spring switch. And the switcher will be over on the eastbound iron, and they will unload the cameras and stuff out of the combination car, and then we will go along on the westbound iron. We will be protected there with the flagman over at the station to protect us. We go along on the westbound iron slow, and they'll go along on the eastbound iron and take the pictures as we go into Bangor station.
Say, that certainly sounds highly technical and very much railroad talk. Tell me, Mr. King, are you surprised at the number of people who have shown up this morning to take a look at 470?
I sure am surprised.
I imagine that you've been a railroader a good many years.
I've been here on the Maine Central since 1913. I started in on the Bangor and Rustic Railroad in 1906.
And I guess all this business we hear about the romance of the steam engine is no myth, because certainly it Well, even to me, it's a little bit of a surprise to see so many people out early on a Sunday morning to take a look at it.
It sure is. There's no question about it.
And, of course, the diesels are wonderful, and we all have to go along with progress. But the steam engine was pretty wonderful, too, wasn't it?
It was wonderful in this day. It sure was, yes.
And it's certainly been wonderful talking to you, Mr. King. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you have a wonderful trip.
Same to you. I hope you enjoy. You're going over with us.
We're going part way anyway, sure.
Goodbye.
Oh, that was just rehearsal.
Up in the cab there?
Well, not with you, we haven't.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, sir.
All set, Deputy? Yeah.
And now it's our pleasure to talk to another of the gentlemen who will be in the cab of Locomotive 470 in its last run. And he's the engineer, and I believe it's Archie Toll of Oakland, Maine.
Of where?
Oakland, is that right?
Oakland, that's right.
Oakland, Maine. And how long have you been a railroader, Mr. Toll?
It's October 1898.
Since October 1898.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you must be one of the oldest men on the railroad.
Oh, there are two older engineers.
And I imagine many, many times in the past you had the pleasure of being the engineer on Locomotive 470.
Oh, yeah, surely.
And I should imagine perhaps, although you, like all the other gentlemen, go along with progress and the advances and the improvements of the diesel locomotives, there must be a little bit of sadness to take this engine on its last run.
Well, I'm glad to be mixed up and associated with the steam engine once more. That's what I was brought up on, what I used to, and I like the music of them better than I do the music, or somebody said the noise of the diesel.
Well, I certainly hope today that you have all kinds of pretty music on Locomotive 470 and a wonderful trip, sir.
Well, it's up to me to play the tune. If the fireman will punish me with the steam, and I guess he will, all right, I guess we can make us sing a right tune.
And I imagine that old steam whistle is really going to hum between here and Bangor and back.
Oh, I'll have other things to do, but whenever I can see anybody that thinks they'd like to be greeted with a whistle, I'll try to respond.
Well, it sounds wonderful, and thanks again, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, believe you me, just about everybody seems to be on hand to take a look at Locomotive 470 before she pulls out of Portland Union Station on this historic last ride. It's our pleasure right at the moment to talk to President E. Spencer Miller of the Maine Central Railroad. And Mr. Miller, you certainly are garbed out 100% correctly, I should say, for the last ride of Locomotive 470.
Well, I certainly hope so. My men have looked after me and provided the uniform. I'm no expert at these things, but they tell me it's quite authentic.
It certainly looks authentic. President Miller of the Maine Central Railroad is wearing, I believe, an engineer's uniform complete. This should be quite a day. I believe you'll have some very distinguished company in the cab of Locomotive 470 as the day goes on.
Yes, we expect to. The leading citizen, the first citizen of Maine, Governor Burton M. Cross, now plans to get on and ride from Augusta to Bangor, and I believe back to Portland this afternoon.
And you yourself are going to be there all the time, I believe.
Yes, they have rather artificially designated His Excellency and myself to be fireman and engineer, respectively.
Well, Mr. Miller, this must be quite a thrill for you, a railroad man yourself, to see so many people on hand showing so much enthusiasm in Locomotive 470. Did you think that there were so many cameras that would show up so early on a Sunday morning?
No, I really did not. Considering the hour and the unfortunate weather that has been given to us, I was quite surprised and extremely gratified to see this interest. In other words, I think it means there's a lot of life in the old Ann Horseshead.
I guess you're right. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that the weather clears before the day is out, and that Locomotive 470 and the Maine Central Railroad have a real fine day. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, sir, for those kind wishes.